Just realized the title has got the wrong date on it. Oops. This is actually the Monday build show, not Sunday, but we were streaming yesterday, so I apologize about the title being incorrect on the day. But I am human. So, welcome to the Monday build show. Don't be confused by the title. I'm your host and builder, Ben Estrino, over here at the Empower Gaming Computer Studio. We're going to be building an awesome streaming slash content creators build. And this is a great build for your budget if you are on a pretty tight budget and need some horsepower. Thank you, Lindsay, over on Facebook for following us. I appreciate that. But we have quite the build here today. So again, if you're on a tight budget and you're looking for some horsepower to do some video editing, content creating, primarily focused on content creation or streaming, and if you are also trying to capture another device like a PlayStation 5, then this build would be for you. I believe this was in the $1,100 or $1,200 range for the PC, and then it was an additional, I think, $250 for the capture card. But this thing will do everything you will ask it to do, and it will do it really snappy. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and run through the build list. Our parts, so to speak, or our lineup spec sheet. So today we're building with the i7-12700K. And I can lower this music a little bit. It gets a little bit loud. Like, this song for some reason goes up and down with its volume. Sometimes it's obnoxious. Alright, so we're doing the i7-12700K for the CPU. This bad boy's got 12 cores, 20 threads, and has a max turbo of 5 gigahertz. We also have the LGA 1700 bracket by Thermalright, which again, we use those with pretty much any LGA 1700 build. In this case, this is LGA 1700 CPU in the socket on the motherboard. And the reason why is because it helps keep the cooler or gives the CPU better contact to the cooler because it keeps it from buckling or doing any strange positions with the cooler on top of it. It makes it so that the surface of the CPU is flat, stays flat, and gives it better contact for the cooler, the copper on the cooler. And the better the contact, the better the cooling. And it does make about anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees Celsius difference, which is very big, especially in these power-hungry CPUs like the i9 or the i7. You really want to use these. So I highly recommend it. It's about a $10 part, and it makes a significant enough difference to make sense to just always build with it if you're doing the 1700, LGA 1700 build. So next up, we have the Thermal Grizzly Crown Nut is the thermal paste that we'll be using today, which is some great paste. I love it. Obviously, won't change my tune until something changes or a better paste comes out. And then the cooler we're going to be using today is the Thermal Right Frozen Note, which is this bad boy down here. That's a 360 millimeter radiator with 3 120 millimeter fans, all addressable RGB on the pump as well. That's going to be top mounted on the case. We're going to be building this onto a MSI Z690A, which is a Wi-Fi version of the motherboard. This is a D4 motherboard, which means DDR4. Hey, Dad Buds, welcome to the stream, sir. Hang out and enjoy it. So the Z690A is the motherboard we'll be building with, and then we have 32 gigs of RAM, which is 4 sticks of 8. So we didn't go with 2 16 gigs, we went with 4 32 gigs, and the primary reason why we did that was because of the deal we got from Micro Center with the motherboard CPU RAM combo. It only came with 16 gigs, and for another $36, I think, we got another 16 gigs, so we just went with the 4 sticks instead, because we got the better deal, or the deal with the motherboard CPU RAM combo. If I would have done it differently, I would have gone 2 16 gig sticks, but because of the deal we got on the CPU motherboard RAM combination, we just kept it with 4, so we didn't waste any money off that deal. Next up is the SSD. We're going to be running a 2 terabyte M.2 Gen 4 by Silicon Power, and then a gigabyte RTX 4060, and this is the Eagle, which is factory overclocked with the wind force fans. I believe this is a triple fan card, if I remember correctly out of the box. And then we have the Sedgetep GM 750 watt gold. So it's a 750 watt 80 plus gold power supply. And the other nice thing about this power supply is it is PCIe 5.0 and ATX 3.0 ready out of the box, which gives him the ability to upgrade in the future if he wanted to, say, get to a bigger card. It has that 600 watt 16 pin cable. Then we also have the Elgato 4K 60 Pro. This is for him, so that because he's planning to actually stream or record clips from his PlayStation. So we have this so you can capture what's happening on the PlayStation just simply by capturing the signal between the PlayStation and his TV or his monitor that he's playing on. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this build. But before I do, we do have a case here that I forgot to talk about, but it is the Montech Air 903 Max. This case I've started building in. I built this one in for, I think on Thursday for the first time, and I just immediately fell in love with this case. So you'll be seeing this case a lot on the stream. And I highly recommend you guys, if you have it available at a Micro Center near you, if you are looking for a nice ATX mid-tower while on a pretty tight budget, this case is your case. It has all the features that you're going to need for literally anything that you're throwing in there. Supports a 360 millimeter AIO on the top. It has the mesh on the front. It has included addressable RGB PWM fans. Has a hub. I mean, the value of this case is just amazing by Montech. So I'm very impressed with Montech and how they got this case out for the price they did. So good job to them. I enjoyed it, building into it. I would like to do a review on this case, and I will post that probably here in the near future because that's how much I love the case. Montech has really been standing out as a pretty awesome brand. So let's go ahead and switch to the top down, then we'll move some parts over and start building. Let's get ready to build. So of course we're going to start out with our CPU and our LGA 1700 contact plate. I'll move the rest of this stuff over because we're not going to use it quite yet. So we'll start with our required parts here. Which are pretty much just these. We might need some of those, I don't know yet. Oh yeah, I forgot to actually update our build count as well. We are actually at 624 for the year. Slowly going up there. Alright, so we got several builds to do this week already. I've got a couple that are hanging out behind me that we need to finish up and get shipped. We had some issues with some of the tuning. The other one just needs to be finished. But we've had quite a few builds this week already, which is super exciting because we're just keeping this ball rolling. So it's great. All right. Need a driver. Okay. So what we're going to do is drop the CPU into the pins here, or into the socket. What that's going to do is help protect the pins as we work with the contact plate. Replace that, because we don't want to damage these pins while we're working on it, obviously. And we do need the CPU in there before we put the contact plate in there. We just drop the CPU in there, and that's good to go. Now we'll get our contact plate out. This is our LGA 1700 contact plate. I don't know why it's not focused. Let's see if it focuses as is. It seems to struggle because I think there's something on the lens there, or there's something wrong with the lens. I'm not sure yet. But we'll just leave it there. Seems to focus better when it's out. But I'll bring it up here. This is the LGA 1700 contact frame that I was talking about, and it just drops in here. And I'll give you guys a zoom just to see the socket, I guess, what I'm doing. Much better. Hey, what's up, Weird Duck? Let's go. Yes, sir, we're building another build. Another one. It's another one. Hey, I saw you were posting questions about when's a good time to like start asking for sponsors. Love it. Awesome. I love it too. Are you looking around? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove the stock brackets here. And we're going to drop our LGA 1700 bracket in here. Like that fell off on the back side. We'll drop it on there, and then we'll reuse these screws to tighten it down. It's been on my mind a lot. I never knew when I should reach out. You know, I don't think there's ever a time that you can't start reaching out. It's always good to reach out and make contacts, you know? But if you were looking for something to start with, you and I could chat. I mean, you're already doing the work, which is recommending us. Alright, so we got our contact plate installed. Sorry, say that again. My coworker was talking. Oh, no worries. I was just saying, you already do the work, you know, by recommending us. If you want, you and I could chat about some stuff. I've got some ideas that would benefit you, your community, and us as well together. Alright, so now we're going to install our 2TB M.2 Gen 4 SSD. This is by Silicon Power. The great SSD. Got that speed of Gen 4. And also the size, 2TB, obviously, is great, especially with today's titles getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, I try to push people to 2TB now, minimum. 1TB if we absolutely have to save a few bucks, but in all reality, the 2TB SSD is only like $30 more. So it just doesn't make sense not to. And obviously, the more space you have on your PC, the more you can enjoy it. Alright, so we got our SSD installed. Now we're going to do our dual kits of 16 gigs, so that's 32 gigs total. We're going to do one set of 16 here and here in the B2A2. These are 3200 megahertz by G-Skill. And these are the Ripjaw 5s. The lovely kit of RAM has some pretty good performance. And 32 gigs is going to deliver whatever his needs are here on the PC. So if he's rendering videos, he's got the RAM to do it. Yeah, let's talk. I can promote you guys enough. You can't, no. I mean, you already do the work, so may as well just make it a thing. Y'all were amazing with my build. Yeah. Your build was probably one of the more fun builds that I've done, too. So. But yeah, whenever you get a chance, reach out. I'm usually more available in the evenings to like sit down and talk than I am during the day right now, at least. It's just, that's how my schedule is panning out right now. I have a ton of meetings throughout the day, starting to stack up. So evenings are usually probably best to reach me if you're just going to reach out. No problem, man. Alright, so next up I want to grab the hardware out of the cooler, or from the cooler packaging, so that we can get that hardware installed onto the motherboard, or mounting the motherboard. Before mounting the motherboard, for mounting the block on the CPU. Maybe I haven't had enough caffeine yet today. Not gonna lie. It was a rough morning. There was a graduation party yesterday. So I went from streaming a build yesterday to mowing my mother-in-law's lawn to a graduation party, grad party. All fun stuff. Yeah, my evenings are better as well. I'll shoot you a DM and we can discuss a time. Yes, yeah, for sure, man. Just let me know when you're ready. Give me some times. This is an AMD bracket. We're not working with AMD, so I'm just going to throw that back into the package because we're not going to be using that. This is 115X, not ours. We'll need that one. This is LGA 1700, and this is probably, yep, the other Intel socket that we're not using. We're also not using one of those. We're not using that. Okay. So let's flip this board around and put this on there. We're going to spread these pegs out to the 1700 width. Peel these. Usually I don't stick these on, but lately I've been just whatever. These don't ever come off anyway. Unless you gotta replace the cooler. And they're easy enough to pop off. The adhesive is not that strong. All right, so that is ready to go. Now we can get the case out and get our cooler or our motherboard installed, and then get our cooler installed. Make some progress here. I gotta get this build done, ready for pickup today. Whoa. Whoa. It wouldn't be a live build stream if you didn't hear dad grunts. Whoa. Ugh. Move the glass side panel. Stand it back up. Remove this bad boy, because we're going to be putting a cooler there. Remove the rear panel. Put the magnet dust filter on the rear panel. Okay, and let's zoom back out. Get our mounting hardware. And manual. Manuel. And we're ready to go. Yeah, whatever. We don't need to deal with that right now. We can deal with that later. Alright, so let's get the motherboard in here. But first, let's put our I/O shield on. Not make the same mistake 2 streams in a row. If you didn't catch that the last, or I think it was Friday stream. Friday stream. Or was it last stream? I don't even remember. Anyway, one of the streams I forgot the I/O shield. And it was like the first time in a long time that I've done that. So. And again, Montech stepping it up, giving us some wonderful labels on their packaging. So you know exactly what screws are what, especially for novice builders. There's a total of 9 screws that we have to use to mount this motherboard. Three, and 3. 3 rows of 3. It's all one long day, right? You know it. I had a pretty quick fix. All I had to do was remove the 9 screws holding the motherboard in, and we slid the motherboard over, just, half an inch or so. And I was able to slide that I/O shield in, pop it in, and then put all the screws back in, and it was like it never even happened. It was an extra 5 minutes. It's just funny because there's a lot of memes out there in the PC building community about finishing a build and then picking that up and being like, what's this for? It happens a lot. Or, oops. It just happens a lot. Alright. So this cable here is going to be what feeds the power to the fans. At least spins them and controls the speed of the fans. So this is going to go to our CPU header. CPU fan header. And then we'll have another one that goes to the pump. And then another one that goes to one of the system fans, which will probably go with one down here somewhere, I'm assuming. But we don't have to worry about that until we get there. Alright, so we can probably move on to installing the cooler. John, I got a 7900 XT. Oh gosh. Come on, John. Sorry, I was on the phone when you called, and I meant to actually call you back before I started the stream, dude. Red Devil with my card rewards money. Oh, nice. Nice one. LOL, I did that one day when I went to clean my PC. It was one of my fan filters. And I was like, where did this come from? Yeah, usually when you're assembling something, it's never good when you have leftover parts. And you didn't have any, if you disassemble or reassemble. But, I mean, happens a lot. John, you dog. Going with a 7900 XTX. We went with an 850 watt power supply, right? On your build, John, if you're still watching. It was either 750. Oh, you got the 1000 watt. Oh. John, didn't we just finish messing around with your PC? Like every other week, you're over here messing around with your PC. I guess that's one of the perks of living next door to us. Yeah, for those of you who don't know John is a friend of mine. Good friend. But he messes with his PC like every other week. In this case, it's every week. Right now, I don't know. He's got like that PC upgrade itch. He just hasn't been able to satisfy it this year. He's been over here like every other week for like the last 2 months. At least I feel like it. He had 9 years of credit rewards. Jeez. Is that like a perk from being in the Navy? Or just you running your bills through your credit card and paying it off every month or something? Oh, I'm always worried to mess up mine since I'm not close to you. Oh, no worries, man. You know, if you need anything, you can always just call me or message me, and I'm happy to jump on a call and work through it. Let me be your Gollum / Smeagol, and I shall guide you to Mordor. Doesn't sound as cool as it did inside my head. But I promise you, when we get to Mount Doom, I will not bite your finger off. Alright, so we had to flip those fans around because they're facing the wrong way. Now that that's done, we can, I guess we have to undo these twist ties real quick. Oh. And I should probably do those EPS cables. Dang it. Not one thing, it's another. Well, John, I will have you know, you are the first person I've worked with. Well, first person I've worked with a 7900 XTX, but also the first person that I've worked with that decided to just go and buy a 7900 XTX, you know, directly, as well as, just in general, first 7900 XTX. I've worked with 7900 XT, not the XTX, so excited to see what kind of performance we get out of it. The only reason why AMD is less popular over here is because most people that I work with are streaming, and you know, most people have the mentality or understanding from their knowledge or what they've learned over time that the NVIDIA card, oh my, awesome, that the NVIDIA card is a better card for streaming. But this generation of AMD cards has better support now for streaming. So it has pretty equivalent performance is what I'm getting at. So, in my opinion, AMD is probably better for better value. You get better performance at better value. But that doesn't mean it's better than NVIDIA. The RTX 4090 is still way better than the 7900 XTX. It just outperforms it, that's all. But I mean, the price difference, it's another like $700, $800 for a 4090. Like two of the cards. So all this work just to get to EPS cables. Well, I guess while I'm going through this, I'm just going to plug these in for the hell of it. You know what? I should probably... Well, I'm going to need one of those. I'll leave that one undone. But for the future ones, I shall not. CPU EPS cable right here. We got one. I just want to get these plugged in before I do the radiator. I know it's going to be a tight fit once we get that radiator in there. Nvidia's price gouging. Oh yeah, you know they are. Everybody does. They really can't hide it at this point. Pretty comparable to the 4080, but cheaper, yes. And more VRAM, right? 79, yeah, more VRAM, I think. Pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. $24 gigs, yeah, versus the like 16, I believe you get from the 4080. Oh. All right. So I got this power supply finally sorted out. We're not going to put the power supply in. I just needed the EPS cables, and I was just doing those cables because I was going through them anyway. Now we got to get rid of these twist ties and mount this cooler. These Dawn twist ties. They will be the death of me. They will bring me to my knees. I have to keep working with twist ties. I like zip ties. I don't like twist ties. $4080 has 16 gigabytes, yeah. So more VRAM, about the same price, means more virtual reality, VR. Hold that thought. I need more light. Hey, more light. But we're gonna try to get this thing mounted here. And really the most important thing is to get these cables through the holes at which I want for the center hole here. And then mount it. Now, before I put a screw in, I just need to make sure the cables made it through and aren't snagged or pinched somewhere, because you never know. Yeah, I think that's good. Looks good to me. And as I mentioned before, this case has a really nice offset for the radiator, because in some situations, depending on your VRM heat sinks or your RAM, you might need a little bit of an offset. And Ben, you said, "Let there be light," and there was light. I am no god. I am immortal. I just flip a switch. Make light. I want you to experience the full glory of your first Red Devil. So it's not my first Red Devil. I've worked with Red Devil, which is a series by Power Color. And I've worked with Red Devil quite a bit. So I've always liked the Red Devil card because it's a bigger, better, cooler. Yes, it is my first XTX, but not my first Red Devil. I've been with many, many Red Devils before you, John. But I will treat it very nicely and gently. Are you installing it, or are you bringing it here for install with the power supply? Crying inside. I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to make you cry. Are you working today, or is tomorrow, or is this your last day for the week's work cycle? One, two, three. You're working tonight. Last night. Ah, okay. Gotcha. So I'm assuming I should expect to see you tomorrow or Wednesday? Hey, Carol, thanks for the like over on Facebook. Thank you, Grandma. That's my grandma. She's always following and making sure I'm behaving. Alright, so now that the cooler's ready to go, we just need to get some thermal paste on the CPU. So that's the thermal grizzly we're putting on there, which I actually need to order more of. Realized our tube is running low. I don't think I have another tube. I really don't want to be caught without thermal paste, because what's a PC shop without thermal paste? There's signature thermal paste. Which, by the way, if Thermal Grizzly, do you want to sponsor? Please feel free to reach out. Tomorrow. Somebody stop me. Well, did you also get those power supply extensions, or do you have black power supply cables from the Be Quiet? I know you were looking for black. All right, there we go. Cooler installed. Sending this RGB cable through here to the back, because that's where it needs to go. Get yourself stuck on a heat sink, though. Come on, dude, work with me. All right, starting to really look like a gaming PC, I'd say. Now we just need to get some of these front panel connectors. Then we can move on to our graphics card and power supply and fire this bad boy up. After a little bit of cable management, of course. So, we're getting closer. All right, we just need to get this zip tied or velcroed up here, just so we can keep it in a manageable state, because it's getting a little wonky up here. All right, make sure we have everything. I think we do. And we're ready to get this plugged in. I'm pretty sure on this one, I'll go this way. Pretty sure we want the USB 3 and USB-C right around here on the center. I'm correct. And we want our USB or our audio guy here at the bottom. Same thing with our power button, etc. We have a RGB connection, addressable RGB. Going to link up in here. Could have a PWM fan from the hub, which we're going to plug in down here. Leave. Once we can get one up there, I think I'm gonna go up here. System fan. Go right here. Save that run. Yeah, you got the recommendations. Awesome. For the cables, USB 3, USB-C. Why is that so tight? There we go. Plug it in. All right, so then we just need to fit our 24 pin there. And this is our power. Power switch. Hard drive LED. And power LEDs go down here in the JFP1. And then our addressable RGB. Our hub is going to go here. And then our front panel HD audio down here. There we go. Got everything plugged in. Guess we can move on to the Elgato card and the graphics card. AMD said 850 watt was fine, but this is a higher power draw card. Yeah, I mean the 850 would probably work fine, and they actually overcompensate for the 850 as it is. What I mean by that is they're thinking 850 watt could be a shitty version of the power supply. So, and you have actually a pretty decent one. So the 850 probably would have worked for it. Whoops. Actually popped the wrong one out here. So I gotta put this one back and remove the other one. But I'm trying to leave as much of a gap as I can between the graphics card and this card because it will kind of heal up some airflow. From the graphics card if it's too close up against the fans. You want to put it as low as you can. You have enough airflow or room for the airflow for the graphics card. Alright, so now we're ready for the graphics card, which is an RTX 4060. You know, trust yourself. Also, they said the software setup is janky. You mean from the AMD software? So I think it's getting better. So close. Building. Building. Doing a computer. Here's the Eagle RTX 4060 that we're going to be installing here. The 2-card slot, so we're going to remove 2 of these. The back, let's go. Card slots in very nicely. Then we'll screw it down. and that'll secure it. Well, this card is not a very heavy card, so it's not going to really do much. I'm less worried about it sagging in this build for this card. Not a very heavy card. It is a longer card, but I don't think it's going to sag. We could put a kickstand on there if we needed to, or a bracket. But there we go. We got those installed. Now we can flip this around and get the power supply installed, which, by the way, we already have prep and ready to go. Look at that. So what we got to do is just make sure our CPU EPS cables get plugged in here before we tuck it in. Then you can shove it in here. Nice. Power supply installed. The next, all we got to do is get our 24-pin installed and our PCIe for the graphics card, power for the graphics card. Then we can cable manage, finish up the CPU, RGB, PWM connections there. We're ready to fire this bad boy up in a little bit. Almost there. I think we want to come up from down here. Kind of sneak in this way if we can. I think this is going to be the best option to sneak in here. Most center to the PCIe connection. I am right. Spot on. Then we'll get a small zip tie here to hold it. Very nice. Build is coming together. The last thing we got to get plugged in here is the 24 pin, which is the big boy that powers the entire motherboard. There we go. Now we just got to deal with the rat's nest. Reminds me of the Rogue Factory tour. It's coming together. Maybe I'm not understanding the Rogue Factory tour. Go ahead and smack my head and remind me what that is, Steve. And we have a pump. Get this pump plugged in. Come on, pump. Work with daddy. Oh. Then one of the last few things we have to get plugged in here is our addressable RGB connections, which we have 4 of them to deal with here, or should have 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wonderful. So wonderful. It in, plug it in, plug it in. Lactose, plug it in. All right. Then we just need to clean this up a little bit. Not too bad. Do one twisty tie here. Getting zip tie. Ford F-150. Oh yeah, all those trucks going down the line. Yeah, this is not a factory though. This is more like a sweat factory. And Leah and Missing Power is the boss. Doesn't give us breaks anymore either. Do do do. Can't stop the feeling. Oh, we don't want to lose that. We want to keep that. My phone has bad sound. Oh, it might be my microphone too. When I get out too far away from the microphone, because of my filters, you probably can't hear me as well. I always forget about that. So just tell me, hey Ben, I can't hear you. And then I'll pull the microphone closer to my face. Maybe I should just get one of those travel microphones. I think I'm at that level now. Wireless microphone that I clip to my shirt. But I feel like the more and more I do that kind of stuff, the closer and closer I get to Linus Tech, or Linus at Linus Media Group. I like my HyperX microphones a lot. No offense to anybody over at Linus Media Group. I'm just saying, like, this is my thing. My microphone, my thing, my style. I don't like the microphone attached to me, so I have to walk around with it. But maybe for quality, I might have to. I think I'm gonna run it down south this way, like so. Because I can. Keep it its own entity, separate from the other main harness. There we go. Couple of clips here. Snippety snips. And then the final countdown. Or like the final cable cleanup. Do 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 do. Wall zip ties. You're running on low on zip ties, my liege. Oh. All right. The final blob of cables. Getting stuffed away here. Well, for future use. We are all set back here. I think that's all of it. All of it. Done. Boy, this thing got pretty heavy as time went on. Beautiful. So clean with the cable management. Gonna make one minor quick modification here to this RGB cable that wants to bounce around a little bit. Want to keep it in line. Keep it in check. Everything else turned out absolutely beautiful. Perfect. So now we gotta just clean this up a little bit. Put all the screws in this bag. Little baggie. Then we'll get this plugged in, fired up, start Windows, get all the drivers and all that stuff, get it tested, and it'll be ready for pickup That PC is a beauty? Well, thank you. It is. Turned out very nice. We'll see what it looks like when it's actually fired up here in just a moment. I think it even posts. Might be beautiful. Be able to post. It doesn't post. What good is the beauty? So I get the stood up here, and then I will change the camera view and plug it in. Stupid little thing on the Ethernet. Nothing. Okay, and then we're going with a Windows 11 on this one. Yes. All right, are we ready to see this thing come to life for the very first time? Maybe the right camera view would be nice. Also make sure the power's on. We did that one a couple days ago too. Here we go. And 3, 2, 1, does it work? I just remembered something. It works, it's starting up, but I forgot to plug in one very important thing. Oops! The SATA power to the hub, which is why there's no RGB or anything. That might help. And once again, Ben said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And we've already posted and actually started the Windows setup already. Making some pretty good progress. Let me see if I can get it on the capture card here. No signal, but I think that's because we already started the install on the HDMI, so once it reboots, we should go to the capture card. All right, so we are just wrapping up this build. I'm going to actually cut the stream here because the last bit, it's really just boring stuff, just installing Windows, which we just finished the setup anyway. And then we got to do drivers and do some tuning, update the BIOS, get the XMP profile, and then do some testing. And we're kind of on a deadline trying to get this done today, as soon as possible. So I'm going to probably cut the stream here, but if you guys have any questions or want, just follow along, and we'll be building some more builds later this week. Have a fantastic evening. Thank you, Weird Duck, for hanging out over there on Kick. I appreciate you, sir, as always. And I'll be talking to you in probably the next couple days or so. So, thank you again, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please make sure to follow and share. It always helps us grow. And I will see you on the next stream. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you.